Welcome back, Bobcat fans, to another team season preview. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by field hockey head coach Kaitlin Thompson, where she'll be giving her thoughts on this upcoming season. Coach, I first just want to ask you how this team has been looking in preseason, what your thoughts on for this season, just an overview of everything.
Preseason has been looking pretty good so far. Our girls have been working really hard. We had two scrimmages, mixed up our formation a little bit, so had to work through some growing pains there, but they've done a great job adjusting. We've worked some of those kinks out. We're really looking forward to our game coming up. So yeah, we're really excited about the team moving into our season. We're looking great so far.
And so obviously we can't start this season without first looking back at last season, where it's pretty difficult with you guys being an independent and the PSAC not playing for most of their sports, so it was hard to schedule opponents, but you were thankful that some Division IIIs popped up, that you knew their coaches, you were able to get some game time in. Looking back on the spring, winning obviously the one game against Mercyhurst and some close losses against other teams where, you know, a very young roster that you had, and these teams are a little bit more experienced, but what did you learn about this team and especially the young players from that spring season?
Yeah, so our girls did a really great job figuring out how to work our passing patterns. That was probably our biggest thing that we improved on in this past spring season, and just getting our current sophomore class, which is a rather large class that we have, some playing time was super crucial to get some of those, jitters out, because as a freshman it's difficult to see what the next level is. And like you said, yes, we played some Division III teams, but we played Johns Hopkins, we played St. Mary's, which are two very strong Division III programs. So we were really excited about the level of competition that we were able to expose our current sophomores to last year, so that way we're really prepared moving forward into this full season this year.
And so one of the scrimmages that you mentioned is you played against St. Mary's here at home, and I was actually there to watch a little bit of that first half, and afterwards I learned that you guys actually tied in the scrimmage where you coming off 2 losses against them in the spring. Is that just speaking to the growth of your team and sort of learning how to play? Where I know we talked in the spring, and for a lot of these players, it's just learning how to play winning field hockey at the collegiate level.
Yeah, I think, again, our team has really grown in this past year and a half that we've been off. But yeah, I think that we just saw a lot of great growth with our girls in seeing that. I think we gave everybody a little bit of playing time against St. Mary's. So, we have 28 girls on the roster. It shows that our whole roster is very strong, being able to compete with them for the full time that we did play against them. We're just really grateful that St. Mary's, who is, again, such a great team, is willing to play us all these times, and we're grateful to them, their coach Jess, and we're just really excited to move forward.
And so kind of off the back of last season and losing 3 very key players in Gabby Rahuba and Brooke Lafayette, Sam Coffey, 3 really standout players for this program. They've been keys the last 4 years for you as a coach. Obviously you can't replace all of those players just in terms of their personality, what they brought to the team. But you do bring back some key players in Heidi Van Dyke and Taylor Henderson, Emily Hughes, both goalkeepers from last year, Maggie Hopp and Maddie Manalanson, just to name a few of them. But a lot of this roster does come back. Has anyone kind of stepped up to the forefront and really taken sort of leadership roles that the 3 seniors you lost really brought to the team?
Yeah, Madison Manalanson has had just an amazing preseason so far. We're really glad. We're really proud of all the growth that she's put in so far this season, and looking forward to really seeing her out there. She has just looked fantastic all preseason long. Taylor Hackett is always a great leader for our program. We've moved her up the line a little bit more each year. She's moved up and up and up, so we'll be seeing her out at the forward line a little bit more, and she's been doing a great job. As you mentioned, Heidi Van Dyke, she's just been fantastic, great effort kid. We love everything that she puts out there. Ashlyn Cave has really just been stepping up. She is really controlling the midfield so much better this preseason. And then newcomer Olivia Wenzel has just also really been killing it as well. So we're really excited about a lot of the things that we've been seeing from those girls in particular, and many, many more of them as well. So again, lots of great stuff that we've been seeing, lots of great growth that we've seen even just in this little preseason alone.
So you touched on Olivia there and some of the newcomers for this team. It's not quite as big as last year's incoming freshman class, which I don't know you ever have a freshman class as big as last year's, but you do bring in some talent that are also very young players, and a lot of the lineups this year are going to be a lot of freshmen and sophomores, and then you also bring in a pretty big transfer from Washington College and Taylor Hackett's sister, and she certainly is a player that you were really keen on. You think she's a great defender. So who has kind of stood out, besides obviously Olivia and Madison, of that new class where this is maybe a player that may not play right away because of the talent, but certainly one where can bring off the bench and can play in some spot games and really give the team a big energy boost?
Yeah, again, Madison Hackett has just really done great. She's such a steady player for us, so that was really, we were really glad to have her come to Frostburg. And Macy Layfield has also just been a really good spark of energy on the forward line as well. Her drives are sensational. Sometimes I don't even see them come off her stick. I don't know how the opposing goalkeepers are supposed to see it, but that's their problem, not ours. So yeah, we're really excited about some of these new players that have come in, and just seeing some really great things from them.
And so this year you finally get to play a full schedule, 18 full games this year after some scheduling changes here in the preseason, with obviously some teams having some issues and having to reschedule some games. But what's it going to be like for a lot of these players to play this full season where, again, coming off the spring, they only played 4 games and a lot of them still very young, but to spread it out over a full season, you make some pretty long trips this year as well into the Missouri and the Carolinas. But is this team ready for that full schedule? How do you think they're going to handle that?
I think so. I think especially our younger girls are such a resilient bunch. So even though they haven't had that experience of a full college schedule, they're just so competitive. They're so resilient. They're ready to go, especially that, like you mentioned, our big sophomore class. They're just always ready to compete and ready to go. So even though, again, they haven't had that full season, they're definitely ready for this full season. I know they're just amped to have the opportunity to play this full schedule. Our schedule is tough. We play a lot. We're going to play a lot of ranked teams this year, but again, we're really excited about what the team is looking like. So,
and certainly very impressive for as an independent school. Without a conference for field hockey is being able to schedule that many teams that are looking to play you guys where they might not know a lot about us, especially, coming into Division II, not knowing much about Division III and the CAC, how good some of those teams were. And do you think you can surprise some teams coming off of, again, a spring in which not a lot of teams know a lot about each other, and you're playing this full season, you get a full preseason. What sort of is your, highest expectation of this team for the year?
Yeah, so we discussed our team goals this year, and we want to have a winning record this year, which I think is totally doable for us. I do think that we can surprise some teams. Again, we have a lot of talent that we have this year, so really excited to just show that off, and we, just moving forward, I think can shock some of these teams again, even though we do have a very difficult, heavily ranked schedule ahead of us. I think that we're just going to play our game no matter who we face, and really try to be, a strong competitor even as our independent schools.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your morning here, a typical Frostburg morning where it's rainy and it's cloudy and certainly just not entirely motivational, but certainly want to thank you for coming to talk about your team. Obviously, wishing you the best of luck, your first game coming up on Thursday, as well for the rest of the season, and really thank you once again.
Happy to be here. Thanks.
Tune in tomorrow when we will continue our season previews for every fall team, and we will have football with head coach Delane Fitzgerald. For the time being, thank you for watching and listening, and go Bobcats.